Have you ever looked at a company, maybe one you're thinking of investing in or even working for, and just wondered, is it actually healthy or is it just putting on a good show? Well, today we're going to give you the tools to perform a full financial health checkup on pretty much any business. Let's dive in.
So, where do we even start? What are the vital signs of a healthy business? It's a lot like a visit to the doctor. Before they can tell you what's going on, they have to check your vitals, right? Your blood pressure, your heart rate. Businesses have their own key indicators of health, and learning to read them is the first step to seeing what's really happening under the hood.
And we're going to stick with this doctor's visit idea for a whole explainer. It's a really simple three-step process. First, we check the vitals. That's the core financial statements. Then, we'll diagnose the results to see what they mean. And finally, we'll plan the next move, kind of like a treatment plan. So let's start with those vitals.
All right, part one is all about checking those vital signs. We're going to look at the three most important financial documents out there. These things are going to tell us a company's current standing, how it's performed recently, and this is super important, where the cash is actually going. First up, we've got the balance sheet. The best way to think about this is like a financial snapshot. Click. It captures a company's assets, what it owns, and its liabilities, what it owes, on one single day. It answers the question, what does our financial picture look like, right now, at this exact moment? This is where you'd look to see if a company is drowning in debt compared to what it owns. That's a potential red flag right there.
Okay, so if the balance sheet is a photo, the income statement is the video. This shows you the company's performance over time, say for a quarter or a whole year. It tracks all the money coming in as revenue and all the money going out as expenses, and at the end, it tells you if you made a profit or a loss. Here, you're really looking for trends. Is revenue growing year after year, or are costs starting to creep up and get out of control?
And finally, we have the cash flow statement. And listen, this one is a big deal because, and you have to remember this, profit and cash are not the same thing. No way. A company can look super profitable on paper, but have zero cash in the bank. This statement is the ultimate reality check. It tracks the actual physical cash moving in and out. The key thing to watch here is cash from operations. Is the main business, the thing they actually do, generating cold, hard cash?
This slide really brings that difference home. On the left, the balance sheet is just a snapshot, a single moment. On the right, the income statement is the video, showing you the story over a whole period. You see, a balance sheet might show that a company owns a ton of valuable inventory. Looks great, right? But then the income statement might reveal that none of it is actually selling. That's why you need both to get the full story.
So now that we've got our vitals, it's time for part two, diagnosing the results. The numbers themselves are really just the starting point. The real magic, the real insight, comes from understanding what they're trying to tell us. So let's put on our detective hats.
First up in our diagnostic kit are profitability ratios. These are basically just clever calculations that turn all those raw numbers from the statements into meaningful scores. They show us how efficiently a company is turning its sales into actual profit. It's just like a doctor taking your vitals and then interpreting them to tell you how healthy you really are.
Next, we ask a really fundamental question with the break-even point. This isn't about thriving or getting rich. This is about basic survival. It calculates the exact amount of sales a company needs to make just to cover its costs. If you're below this point, you're losing money. If you're above it, you're in the clear. You're profitable. It's that simple.
And this is what it looks like in the real world. See, it's not just some number on a spreadsheet. For this company, the break-even point is 1,000 widgets. That becomes a clear, tangible goal for the entire team. Sell 1,001, and you've officially started making money. Okay, we've checked the vitals, we've made our diagnosis. Now it's time for the final step, part 3, planning the next move. This is where we use all those insights to make smart decisions about the future. Just like a doctor prescribing a treatment plan to get you healthier.
When you're thinking about growing, a company has some huge decisions to make. Should we launch that new product? Should we build a brand new factory? These can't be gut feelings or guesses. You absolutely need a clear, data-driven set of rules to make the right call.
And here are 3 incredibly powerful tools to do just that. First, net present value, or NPV. It basically asks, will this project create real, bottom-line value? If the answer is positive, that's a big green light. Then there's the internal rate of return, or IRR. That calculates the project's annual return rate. If that rate is higher than your minimum target, that's another good sign. And finally, the payback period. It asks a simple question. How fast do we get our initial investment back? Now, each one gives you a different vital perspective.
For example, a project might have a positive NPV, which is great, but a 10-year payback period. If you need your cash back sooner than that, you might say no, even if it's technically a profitable project.
And there you have it. In just a few minutes, you've basically assembled a powerful new toolkit for understanding any business you come across. So let's just quickly recap the framework we've built together.
Just remember these 3 simple steps. First, check the vitals with the balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement. Second, diagnose the health using tools like ratios and the break-even point. And third, plan the treatment for future growth by using NPV, IRR, and payback to evaluate your options.
At the end of the day, this is about so much more than just numbers on a page. Understanding these concepts really does give you the power to look under the hood of any business, whether it's your own, a competitor's, or one you're just curious about.
So, now you have the tools. You can decode the financial story of almost any company out there. The only question left is, which business will you give a health checkup to first? What do you think you're going to find?